Hey guys, it's Sim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, and this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up, a handful of news brought to you in one easy-to-watch video. As far as today's show does go, we do have 1, 2, 3-ish, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 to 10 different stories. One or two of them are going to kind of blend together and be all in one, but we have about 10 stories. We're going to talk about who potentially is Tony Khan's big signing coming on Saturday, tomorrow at Full Gear. We got some big context on that. WWE being interested in a new Japan star and why Okada's being pushed. An update on Julia to WWE. Some Goldberg news, some NWA news. Tony Khan talked about all his big announcements and so much more. Because again, this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up, brought to you just about every Monday and Friday right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. We talk about all the biggest news in the world of professional wrestling. You can watch this show a number of different ways, whether you're watching live on Twitch or YouTube, or you can listen later on podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. If you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. First off, subscribe to the channel for sure, or hit that donate button down below to donate to the channel, or you can subscribe, follow, subscribe, do all the stuff here on Twitch. But you can subscribe to the channel by hitting that subscribe button. You can do it one of two different ways. You can either subscribe by hitting that, by using a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. Because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month. And I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also remember, head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and then hit the join button to become a channel member. Finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming a free game or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use this code right here, PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Whether you're buying a brand new game like Alan Wake 2, pre-ordering Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, getting an old game like Ratchet and Clank or Rift Apart, claiming the free games, which right now is Earthlock and Surviving the Aftermath, or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys, use this code right here, PWUNLIMITED, for all your Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. But with that, we got a bunch of news to talk about, so let's jump in right now and talk about who's going to be that big signing tomorrow. One of the best wrestlers ever, or in the world, as Tony Khan put it, for All Elite Wrestling. I'm going to pull up the initial tweet that Tony Khan sent out if you haven't seen it. Let's go here. That initial tweet that Tony Khan did send out stated, got it right here. AEW has agreed to terms with one of the world's best wrestlers, a pro wrestler who is known plus respected by virtually every AEW fan. They'll come to LA to sign their contract this Saturday, 11/18, on pay-per-view at Full Gear. So initially, everybody was just like, Mercedes Moné, Mercedes Moné, Mercedes Moné, and Fightful put out a report yesterday talking about this, saying, well, it's not Mercedes Moné, as Fightful did write the following. And now everything just wants to run slow. Fightful stated, quote, rumors have swirled around the talent that has been teased by Tony Khan as potentially appearing at Full Gear. AEW talent themselves were speculating this week between a number of talent, including Mercedes Moné. So, we've heard as far back as August that they were looking for plans for the two sides to work together. The plan isn't to announce her this weekend at AEW Full Gear. If people in the company are to be believed, several have stated that when asked, it was indicated that the Full Gear announcement isn't Mercedes. Mercedes hasn't been seen on television since appearing at AEW All In, and for good reason. While there were some rumblings within wrestling that Mercedes could appear in some capacity at the Grand Slam show, that didn't end up happening either. As we're told, that wasn't in the plans at any point realistically. Tony Khan has been pretty transparent in the weeks prior to Mercedes, saying that she is healing up from her injury. As Fightful Select was told, she was still in a walking boot the week prior, and Khan had told others that she'd likely still be in the boot come Wrestle Dream, which came and passed. AEW hid that from the general audience at the All In show, not showing the boot, though it was known to the industry. Reports have since emerged that she was and is now out of the boot. So right now, it's not Mercedes. So then you go, okay. Who is it? And Andrew Zarian this morning of the Matt Man podcast did state, well, unless something's not correct that he was told, it's Will Ospreay. Zarian stated, quote, and why is the quote not loading up for me anymore? Give me 1 second. I had the quote. Now the quote's gone. There's only two names that it could be, and I don't think it's Mercedes. I was told Will Ospreay. Now, that is a big deal. A huge deal, because WWE was actively pushing him or pursuing him. It will make the fans happy. I mean, he is the wrestler of the year. So right there is Andrew Zarian coming out and saying, and he says that's what he believes unless something does change or he was told wrong, blah, 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 blah. But, so he's saying Will Ospreay. That would be huge. But then your first inkling and thought of Will Ospreay is, whoa, take a step back. Ospreay's contract with New Japan is not up until February. So is this even possible? And according to Mike Johnson over at PWU Insider, well, it might be. Mike Johnson writes, quote, for many who have asked about Will Ospreay in recent days after Andrew Zarian of the Matt Men podcast reported that he expects Ospreay as the talent signing this weekend officially with AEW at Full Gear, this is what we can confirm. Ospreay's official New Japan Wrestling contract expires sometime in February of 2024. PWInsider.com can confirm that sources have indicated that Ospreay has already received the blessing from New Japan to explore discussions with other companies. That is why Barry Bloom was hired to handle Ospreay's conversations a few months back. There are multiple companies, at least 3 that we've heard of, who are interested in Ospreay and who have reached out with offers to him. So this is huge. That basically he probably told Ghetto and Bushiroad, I'm done. I'm not staying here. Can I go talk to other companies? Like if he told them, I'm not staying, but I'll work the rest of my contract, can I go negotiate? Then that's probably why we heard Dave Meltzer state last week that WWE sent an offer to Ospreay. Like, he said it, and everyone's like, ooh, can he, what? They can do, huh? And that's why. Because apparently, reportedly, according to PW Insider, New Japan has said, yes, you can go negotiate with other companies. So that's very big. They've opened up a negotiation window for Will Ospreay even before his contract is expiring, which doesn't expire for December, or three more months. So that's huge. And it looks like everything is now pointing to Will Ospreay tomorrow signing his AEW contract and being announced as All Elite. And then there you go, Aussie Open and Will Ospreay. They could just reform the United Empire in AEW, then maybe bring over my mind just went blank. Cobb. And then you got all the American talent and the UK and the, all the, yeah. Anyways, I thought they should have signed Cobb a long time ago. I don't know his contract status with New Japan, but I thought Cobb would have fit well in AEW. So maybe you get him next. And you have the full United Empire minus like Hanare and why is my mind blanking right now? Who's the other guy in the United Empire? Where's the thing over his face? Oh my God. Why is my mind blanking right now? I'm going to feel so dumb when I look this up. Great O'Khan. I'm an idiot. Why couldn't I think of the Great O'Khan's name? I don't know. But that is everything that we know about Tony Khan's big signing, that it's most likely Will Ospreay. Now, speaking of another US-based promotion that is interested in a star from New Japan Pro Wrestling, and probably the biggest star in New Japan Pro Wrestling. WWE, according to Dave Meltzer, has renewed interest in Kazuchika Okada. The 36-year-old has been on WWE's radar for years. This write-up does come from Ian Carey of F4W Online, as they say the following. There has been increased talks in WWE of late regarding Kazuchika Okada. In today's edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, our own Dave Meltzer reported that while WWE has had interest in Okada for years, there's been a renewed push of late to bring him in. Meltzer wrote, quote, obviously, they've had interest in him for years, but he's always been loyal to New Japan. The pitch is that he's now 36 and he's close with Nakamura, and Nakamura has worked for WWE in WWE for years, and it's far easier on his body. The idea is that WWE is the one thing Okada has never done, and he's done everything he can in New Japan. One source noted that part of the reason Shinsuke Nakamura is playing a more prominent role in WWE programming as of late is to show Okada the current regime does not treat Japanese wrestlers like they're childlike stars or people, like childlike as far as what Vince McMahon did. However, Okada has been on WWE's radar for years, and there's nothing to indicate that he's even interested in leaving New Japan, let alone going to WWE. Quote, Okada is the name always brought up, but there's no indication that there's anything new to his side and to this side, and that talks could happen. So there we go. WWE does want to bring in Okada, and that's kind of why we're seeing this push of Nakamura. Because it's like, hey, Nakamura's going to get pushed really well. We're going to show you that we can use Japanese stars really well and use their strengths to benefit them. And as we've seen, they're using Nakamura's strength of speaking Japanese, not making him speak English, and then putting the subtitles and all that. It's great. It's great what they're doing with Nakamura. And if that is a way to entice Okada, awesome. But like Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio on Wednesday, for wrestlers in New Japan who want to leave but still want to work New Japan, AEW is their destination. That's why Will Ospreay going to AEW makes the most sense, because A, he's going to be able to work and be signed and be paid by AEW at a big rate, but then he can go back and do big New Japan shows if the calendar allows. He can go work Rev Pro in the UK. He can go work all these different places. He can go do a GCW show. He can work Impact if he wanted to under AEW, as long as the calendar and the dates that they need him don't contradict. And so now you look at Okada and you go, well, if Okada wants to work in the US and he wants a maybe lighter schedule, go work for AEW, you get paid by AEW, and you can still do New Japan here and there periodically. But I get what he's saying about the WWE thing. It's not as hard on your body, because even in AEW, they're working a hard, stiff style a lot of times. But that's still going to be the same, other than like not working at G1. That's going to be the same kind of like roughness on your body because of the type of matches you have in AEW compared to the easier kind of matches that you do have in WWE, to where if you want to pull off one of those big kind of matches, as we've seen here recently, you can do that, but you don't have to do it all the time like you're expected to in a New Japan and AEW and so forth. But with that, WWE is interested in Kazuchika Okada, and it sounds like they may be interested in him more now than they ever have been. Now, speaking of another Japanese name that WWE is interested, that's Julia. Mike Johnson of PWU Insider had previously reported that they thought, or that some in the WWE thought that she could visit the Performance Center here coming up soon, and that there was interest in signing her and all of this and that. And Johnson does have an update on all that, stating, quote, some updates on the WWE Julia interest. There was a belief within some in WWE that Julia would be at the WWE Performance Center earlier this week to tour the facility. We are told it was not slated to be a tryout, but a visit. We are told that Simon Inoki was expected to come in and work as a translator to assist Julia, whose first language is Japanese. Inoki has done similar work for WWE in the past, off and on over the years. So they continue by stating, as it turns out, Julia was not at the PC this week. One source admitted she was initially expected there this past Wednesday, but was not. Company sources are insistent in their interest in her for the future. So Nothing's going on right now. We know her contract doesn't expire till early next year. I want to say February, March time is what I heard and what was being reported. So the big thing is like with the Ospreay thing, are this she from Bushiroad and Stardom gonna get the, what's the word I'm looking for? Permission to go talk with companies? Because you know AEW is going to be interested. WWE we know is interested. She would be a big pickup for any promotion. Julia is so good, so amazing. The only thing she would have to do if she goes to WWE is just tone her style down a little bit because she is a roughneck. She works so stiff on purpose, and these WWE women, especially down in NXT, aren't going to be ready for it. Are not going to be ready for it. Especially those ones in NXT that are just learning. She's going to hit them with the Michinoku driver, drop them on their head, and they're going to be like, what the hell is this chick doing? And then this chick's going to go, I'm wrestling. This is what I do. This is how I do. So we'll see if anything does come of it over the next couple of months, but WWE is interested in Julia. They thought she was going to come and tour the Performance Center this past Wednesday, and well, that never happened. Now, speaking of another potential signing, this one is with AEW. According to Sean Ross Sapp yesterday on his Q&A, he did mention that there could be some interest from AEW in one Bill Goldberg. Sapp stated, quote, the signing is not Goldberg, in speaking of tomorrow. Although I can tell you that there have been talks. They have definitely had some conversations. I mean, everyone's asking about Will Ospreay and stuff. I can tell you this. Last year, AEW came to terms with Chris Jericho. This year, came to terms with Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, and the Young Bucks. If Ospreay lands there, well, guess who else Barry Bloom reps? Goldberg. Barry Bloom did all those deals and has a great relationship with AEW. I don't doubt that we will eventually see that. So there's a couple ways you can take this. I don't know if see that means see Goldberg and AEW, or at least see talks open up between Goldberg's side and AEW. But Sean Ross Sapp did actually tweet here that, or say here on his Q&A, that there is potential interest in bringing in Goldberg. Talks have actually happened at one point, and that talks could emerge yet again. So take that how you want, take that how you may. But yeah, maybe Goldberg has one final match in his career, and it's not in WWE, it's in All Elite Wrestling. Now, within All Elite Wrestling, Tony Khan makes a lot of big announcements. Tony Khan's always announcing an announcement. Hey, we got this. Hey, we got that. Hey, we got this coming. Hey, we got that coming. Then he announces the Continental, what is it called? The Continental, why do I always say Continental Congress? That's not right. What's that tournament? My mind is blanking today. AW Continental Classic tournament. But he didn't hype that announcement up, even though that would have been a big thing to hype up. Hey, come watch Collision on Saturday. We got an announcement of a big tournament we're doing. Oh, interesting. So when he did the, hey, big announcement tomorrow on AEW Dynamite, and then they announced the on-ticket sale for All In next year, that was a letdown. But if he were to come out and go, hey, we have a big announcement on Collision that is for a big tournament we're starting, a first-time ever tournament we're doing, so come check it out. That would have facilitated, and that wouldn't have made me mad. I would be like, oh, that's interesting. I got to check that out. But he didn't. And Tony Khan was asked about this during yesterday's media call, stating that it's something I weigh all the time because we have to announce matches and announce moments and announce huge things and signings. Sometimes you just try to do what feels right and create engagement. That's something we've been able to do, whether it's on television or through social media. Certainly, we can create a lot of awareness about Wembley by putting a lot of fanfare and the announcement, and then putting it on television and getting a lot of eyes on it and conversation about it. Now, there is a lot of awareness about the December 1 on sale. We've been able to use the TV and social media to get people excited. Then, there are times when I like to keep people on their toes. It's a Continental Classic, which people are really excited for. I'll have more information about that right after Full Gear. You mentioned an announcement about a new signing. I'm really excited about that, And I think that's something that's going to be a great addition to AEW, and it's going to be a big deal. As for now, how to announce the announcements or when to announce things is something that there are a lot of different ways to slice and dice it and tons of different ways to approach that. But it's really trying to create excitement around our big promotions, events, wrestlers, and get good buzz around the company. And I think we've been able to do that. So this is a double-edged sword here. It's like when you're announcing an announcement for something that's only going to actually impact 10% of your audience, 20% of your audience, don't do that. Because then 80, 90% of your audience is going to come back and go, oh, well, I don't care about that. That has no bearing on me and my fandom, so why should I care? Like, take WWE, for instance. They announced that tickets are going on sale for all of the WrestleMania weekend events in Wells Fargo Center. They did that in two ways. In a press release and just randomly on on Raw. They just said, oh, hey, by the way, WrestleMania comes to Philadelphia next weekend. Tickets for the Wells Fargo Center events, combo tickets, go on sale this Friday. And I was like, okay, cool. That's how you do it. You don't need to hype that up. You can send out a press release with the announcement of, hey, all these are going on sale on Friday, this, that, da. And then you can just announce it on your show. Whether you actually have a big video, which they did on Raw. So I think it was last week they just randomly announced it or something. I know there was a video that played, but they didn't have to hype up that video like Tony Khan did. Because, again, they know that a good majority of their audience is not going to care about on-sale tickets for all these shows surrounding WrestleMania. A majority of the audience is not going to care. A vast majority. And so, yes, announce it on TV to create that buzz and hype and get people to know when those tickets go on sale, but don't hype it up as something huge that everybody's going to care about. That's the big issue here. And I think WWE does that better. Not overhyping something that's going to get the anticipation high for so many fans to let them down in the end where they go, okay, so you hype something up as big and huge and whatnot and important, but how's that important to me? How's that? And I get it. Not everything's going to be important to everybody. But you have to weigh the options of, is more than 50, 60, 70% going to care about this? Or is under 50, 40, 30% going to care about this? And when it's at under that 30%, it doesn't need to be hyped up. It just needs to be Excalibur on a show. We just finished a match. I don't know, the Young Bucks versus Penta and Commander. And then Excalibur can go, that match was great. We have a pay-per-view coming up this Saturday in Los Angeles, right here in Los Angeles, Full Gear. But we also have another pay-per-view coming up next year in Wembley, all in 2024. And we have Tony Khan and Nigel McGuinness to give you a little more info on that. You do a 3-4 minute segment like they did, and boom, you're good. You don't need to overhype it. You can still put it on your show, but you don't need to overhype it 24 hours prior. That's the thing. It's like when AEW first started, and Cody was always like, huge announcement coming Monday. And then the huge announcement was, we're going to Boston for the first time. Get tickets on Friday. And people were getting mad about that because it's like, oh, I don't live in Boston. I'm not flying to Boston from Sacramento, California to go watch that show, to go be at that show. Oh, wait till they come here. And then I get it. They think there's going to be a lot of fly-in to All In 2024 like there was for 2023. But that was because it's the first time there. I would not be shocked if they get half the amount of people at All In 24. If they do 40 to 50 instead of 80, I would not be shocked at all. Because it was the first time, it was the big one, this and that. And I get it. They want this to be their WrestleMania. But eventually, when you do the same thing in the same building over time, as we've seen with All Out, always being in Chicago, you dip. So that's one thing Tony needs to figure out, is not doing the same thing in the same place every year. At least with Forbidden Door, he's brought that to another city. All In, or Full Gear, he's brought to another city. Revolution, they brought to another city. Like, they're bringing shows to other cities, but for some reason, because it's tradition, All Out is always in Chicago. And we've seen over the years, because of it, and because they just run Chicago too much, the fans in Chicago go, oh, I don't need to go to this show. I'll wait till they come back with like a Dynamite or a Collision when it's cheaper. And so now, next year, they're going to be like, oh, well, a bunch of people might say, oh, well, I already went to Full Gear and or All In Wembley. I don't need to experience that again. Now, if it's All In I don't know, in the Jags stadium, that would be different. Or if they get another football stadium in America or go up somewhere like Blue Jays Stadium in Toronto, that would be different. So that's just the big thing on this. Tony said he's still going to keep doing things how he's doing. And cool, that's your company, that's your promotion. Do what you want to do. But don't overhype things that's not going to interest or even impact or be appealing to most of your audience. Yeah, I'm beating a dead horse now. Now, with that, we're going to jump on some NWA news. Some big things we thought could be happening in the NWA as far as like cuts and stuff. Because yesterday, Nick Hausman of House of Wrestling did report that cuts were coming in the National Wrestling Alliance, that talent cuts and production cuts and this and that, and they're not going to pay for as many hotel nights and blah, 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 blah. And Billy Corgan actually came out and talked about this. And this write-up is from Colin Tessier of Fightful, who states, quote, Billy Corgan clears the air about the NWA. On November 16th, House of Wrestling reported that the NWA was expected to make cuts to its talent roster and production. The report noted that the cuts stemmed from the financial health of the company, as Corgan has been funding the NWA out of pocket with, quote, little to no sponsorship money coming in. Now, speaking with PW Insider, NWA President Billy Corgan was asked whether there were any plans on these cuts, and he stated, quote, None. The territorial system being reinstated is partially to make sure that if key roster talent are not in a particular TV taping cycle, they keep working in our NWA ecosystem. We value everyone that works for us. And some are under contracts and some are not. But that does not mean I don't want everyone working for us all the time. If I didn't want them, I would not have invested the time and money by extension in storylines and promotions of the characters they own. Corgan said. Corgan also responded to House of Wrestling reporting that the upcoming tapings in Sarasota, Florida would be mostly limited to contracted talent appearing at the show, and that in January, the company would stop having talent fly in the day before in order to save for expenses. He stated that the NWA tries to balance the talent that is flown into shows. Corgan also claimed that 2023 has been the most expensive year yet of the Lightning One era. He stated, quote, This is where the stupidity of this kind of reporting shows itself. Sarasota, Florida, tomorrow's NWA event, is a live-to-tape event, which will turn into future episodes of Power. So we try to balance who's flying in from where, etc., to ensure the quality of the show is very high against the cost of running in a live remote. The live remote is much more expensive than running, say, at Skyway in Nashville in a TV studio. So by definition, this live taping is more expensive than Power in the studio. So we are actually spending more money, not less. 2023 has been the most expensive year yet of the Lightning One era. And that's a good thing because the wrestling and the quality of our production has never been higher, which feeds into landing TV deals. As for the NWA's financial health, Corgan stated that it is fine. He said there are no investors, and he also only answers to himself regarding expectations. Corgan also claimed that he could get additional funding if needed due to his success outside of the wrestling world. Corgan stated, quote, Financial health is fine. I'm 100% owner, still no investors. So I answer to no one except myself. For those who have noticed, this has been an incredibly successful period in my musical life, including a massive summer tour in 2023 and 2 more tours on the books for 2024, with an arena and festival summer run in Europe, flowing into stadium tours with Green Day. So if I needed additional funding, I don't currently, I can get it easily because I also own all my songs as well as my recorded work, what they call masters, since 2001, and which one could get loans on against future earnings, etc., if needed. Finally, Corgan addressed the rumors about the NWA's reported television deal and maintained that the company has 2 deals and nothing has changed. He stated that the deals have been in place for a good time and he looks forward to the day that the situation can come to light. Corgan stated, quote, As I've said, I cannot comment on TV deals, but I stand by what I said previously, which is we have 2 TV deals and nothing has changed in the regard despite countless false reports. And those deals have been in place for a good while. How that all plays out is yet to come, obviously, and we certainly look forward to the day when the reality, no pun intended, of our situation comes to light. Again, he reiterated we got a top 20 network deal. Now it's like, okay, when are you going to announce it though, Billy? If WWE is announcing their NW or their CW deal now, a year out, when are you announcing yours? Is yours not starting until 2025 or something? I don't know. To double down on this and be like, oh, well, we still got the deal, but we can't say anything yet is very weird. But basically, Billy Corgan said, how's the wrestling? Your shit was all wrong. We are spending money. And yes, we're not bringing in a bunch of non-contracted talent, but there's a reason for that. So, yeah, you're basically shooting down all the How's the Wrestling reports that were out today, in his interview with PW Insider. As we move forward, WWE is doing a cool thing with the Rotunda family as they have released a line of merchandise entitled the Bray Wyatt Legacy Collection. They announced this and put it out on their shop this morning. We're going to pull it up on the screen right here. So this is really cool. This is just something I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. Bring to your attention. They have new Bray Wyatt merch and everything, and it is called the Bray Wyatt Legacy Collection. You can get right now on shop.wwe.com. They have a few new Bray Wyatt and Fiend Let Me In shirts. So it's these 4 that are the new shirts right here. That's really, really cool that they got new merch coming in. And I know they had stated previously that all the merch money is going to go to his family and this and that. So that's really awesome. But as we move past all of that, speaking of WWE signed a big deal yesterday, or announced a big deal yesterday with the Big 12. New partnership with the Big 12. They'll actually see them deliver a custom MVP title to the MVP of the Big 12 Championship game on December 2nd. But this write-up does come from Ian Carey of F4W Online, who stated, quote, WWE has announced a partnership with the Big 12 Conference for the 2023 Dr. Pepper Big 12 Football Championship game. The game takes place Saturday, December 2nd at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. After the game, a WWE superstar will present the most outstanding player with a custom-made WWE Championship in an on-field ceremony. A co-branded WWE and Big 12 logo will also appear throughout the venue, on the field, and on the title belt as well. WWE superstars will also participate in Big 12 Conference community events, pre-game events, as well as the game's official coin toss. The press release about this stated, quote, Brett and his team at the Big 12 have turbocharged the conference through initiative, media rights deals, and commercial partnerships, consistently exploring new ways to grow the conference's reach and influence, said WWE President Nick Khan in a press release put out Thursday. We're excited to partner with them and help amplify the Big 12 Championship. WWE is a global brand that connects with a wide array of audiences, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark said in a statement. With this partnership, we will integrate WWE and its brand power into one of the conference's biggest moments, further strengthening the bridge between sports and entertainment through the Big 12. This is really cool. This is really cool to see, really cool to hear that WWE is now partnering with even more other sports leagues and whatnot and sports promotions and all that going forward. So yeah, very cool, very awesome in my opinion. And also the logo, we're going to pull up here on the screen. The logo is really cool as well. If I can get it to go. So this is the WWE Big 12 Championship logo. I like it. I think it's cool. As far as the final news story we do have, this does come out of Impact Wrestling as one wrestler has been asked and granted his release. This write-up does come from Fightful as they write the following. Kenny King is now a free agent. Fightful has learned that Kenny King asked for and was granted his release by Impact Wrestling this week. King has spent the better part of the last 2 years there, where he became Impact Digital Media Champion along the way. He feuded with Joe Henry, Mike Bailey, and others, and came into the company as part of the Honor No More stable with several of the former ROH members. He's teamed with Sheldon Jean for much of this year. King finished up at the October tapings for Impact Wrestling and was done basically effective immediately. The Impact World Tag Team title match against Ace Austin and Chris Bay is set to be his last match for the company, we're told. The 42-year-old King has a lot of acting and reality show experience and has appeared on TNA, Impact, ROH, as well as WWE. Tough enough. There we go. Kenny King is now a free agent. It's unclear why he wanted his release, where he's going to go, and what he's going to do next. But with that, that is everything we've got for you for today's wrestling wrap-up. With that, tonight is Friday Night SmackDown. And so far, I want to say two things have been announced for the show. Let's pull this up from WWE's website. Come on, WWE's website. For some reason, it's been running slow. 3 things have been announced. Okay, so something got announced right before we went live. So let's do this. First off, we do know that LA Knight will be going one-on-one with Jimmy Uso. We also do know that Solo Sikoa will return tonight. The first time we've seen him since he defeated John Cena. And finally, Damage Control comes to SmackDown. Looks like Damage Control has added 2 new members to the group. We'll see exactly what all that means tonight on the show. But with that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. Remember to subscribe right here on YouTube. Subscribe on Twitch. Hit that follow button. Do all the things. Follow us everywhere you do. Remember, you can follow us, twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Also, remember that tonight, Collision will be airing at the same time as Friday Night SmackDown head-to-head, so we'll see how that all does go. We'll be back here tonight with our SmackDown review, maybe talk Collision if I watch it, I don't know, and we'll see how it all does go. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.